Memphis has been such an interesting team on the field, but now there's been developments off the field that put them in a category where, the ever changing landscape of college football, they're an interesting team. And this is a team that recently got rejected by the Big 12 to join that conference. But I think really it's only a matter of time before they do join one. College football and realignment continue every single year. And it feels like this is a group that's going to be able to get there at some point. The big thing I think for them this year is that I think that they do have to win an American title. I think that they do have to get back to the top of the conference and win it all. And it's been a while since we've seen a Memphis team be at that level. And yeah, they've been close, but they haven't been able to take that step under Ryan Silverfield. And I truly think that that's going to be what makes them even more appealing and maybe is that final step to getting where they want to be. But also, they should be able to compete in this conference. And this year, they did a really good job of bringing in talent to show that they were not going to rebuild, they're going to reload. And that's the thing that is going to be really exciting if you're a Memphis fan. You're not going to sit around. And that's what makes 2025 so interesting for this team. You don't expect that they're going to wait for some of these young guys to develop. They're going to bring in talent that's going to compete and make sure that they're going to be competitive with some of the top teams in the conference, which is why you bring in a Brendan Lewis. Now, yes, you do have a young player that's behind him that will be really interesting to watch, but at the same time, you have a guy that is going to be really exciting in Brendan Lewis. So Lewis showed at Nevada that he could be really exciting and really explosive. So it's really only a matter of time before he does the same thing at Memphis. Now, it might look a little bit different. Lewis is more that dual threat. We haven't seen that in Memphis's offense for quite some time. So it'll be fun to see how they utilize his legs a little bit more. The real question is, how long are we going to wait before we see AJ Hill? Now, AJ Hill is an exciting freshman coming into this program with a lot of expectations. And in this day and age, especially in the group of five with younger players, how long are they going to be willing to sit around and wait for their opportunity? Will they wait at 1 year before they decide I'm out of here? Or are they truly going to give it time? And the group of five has been just beaten down by the transfer portal. There's been so many players that depart because the money is elsewhere, the opportunities are elsewhere, and Memphis is not immune to that. So can you keep an AJ Hill for the entirety of his career? That feels like a very far-fetched question that you just can't answer because it doesn't feel like they're going to. It doesn't feel like they have the ability to keep him around, and they don't feel like they have the resources to make him stay. And so do you give him an opportunity? It's kind of like a double-edged sword. Do you put him in the lineup, put him in the starting lineup, and he gets to showcase his talent, but then also you get to show other teams what he can do, and then maybe he departs? That's kind of a tough place to be, which is also maybe the part of the reason why this team wants to get to another conference where maybe that's not as appealing. This team should be still really exciting this year. I think Brendan Lewis brings another element that we haven't seen in this Memphis offense. He also has one of the most explosive players that not many people are talking about in Greg Durazier Jr. 228 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, 175 and 4 as a receiver. His numbers aren't going to wow you, but if you go look at what he did in limited action, that's a guy who has big time ability. And that's a guy who is going to have a big impact on this offense because we're not entirely sure what it's going to look like. So at the beginning, you might rely on that rushing attack while Brendan Lewis figures out who's going to be his go-to guy downfield. And this is a passing attack that features a number of new faces. Jane Thompson comes in from Louisville. You bring in Jakari Caldwell from North Carolina A&T. You bring in Bryce Anderson at tight end, Jerry Cross at tight end as well from Penn State. So there are guys that will be new, and it might take some time for them to find chemistry. Now, as of right now, Cortez Braum from Nevada is also committed to Memphis, and we'll see how that situation all sorts out. That's a player I think could have a big time impact. You also have a guy who I'm high on in Keondae Henry. maybe he has the ability to be a part of this passing attack as well. That's the big question right now. The offensive line is in a good position, though they do have 3 new starters. You have good experience up front. So if you're looking for a reason to be optimistic, there's plenty of experience in the trenches, and it gives you time for your experienced quarterback to sort things out around him. The skill position talent is going to be a question mark for the time being. Defensively is where Memphis has some bigger questions, and Memphis defense for a while has been, I would call it the weakness, but there have been some good things as well that have happened for this group. Now, there are plenty of new faces coming into this lineup, but that's also telling me that this is a program that will not sit around and wait. They want to be a contender, and they want to be a contender now. They are not going to wait until the young guys are ready to develop, because truly, you might not have that opportunity to benefit from that development. They might be gone by the time that they get to that point. So you almost have to use the transfer portal and give certain guys opportunities. I think the linebacker position is in a great place. You bring in Cam Burden, Sam Brumfeld, and Everett Rousseau from various different schools. You also have Drew Watts and DeMarco Ward. So the linebacker position feels like it's in a good place, which helps when you're trying to identify certain playmakers and certain guys that will be able to step up for you. And Memphis needs playmakers on defense. It's not going to be a shutdown defense. It's going to be a defense that's opportunistic and takes advantage of the mistakes from the teams that they're playing. William Whitlow Jr. surprised a lot of people by returning, so that's a really exciting thing for them. But again, this is a group that the expectation should be a conference championship, and the moves that you made in the offseason kind of indicate that. Now, the schedule is kind of another thing. And honestly, the schedule isn't terrible. By the time you get to the tough games, you'll kind of know if you're ready for them or not. Chattanooga, Georgia State, and Troy are first. That gives you 3 games to kind of get everybody up to speed and get connected with each other before you host Arkansas. The Arkansas game is a game that a lot of people in the past were really excited about. It's a type of game that you've seen Memphis win in the past. That's a big question mark right now. You then get FAU and Tulsa after that. So even if you lose the Arkansas game and you're 5-1, you feel confident about your ability to build momentum for the rest of the year. Then you get 2 UAB. That should be a game that you win as well. So you should be 6-1 heading into the USF game. And again, if you're 6-1, you feel confident about that game. If you're struggling, then maybe that's going to be a different story. The second half of the season is challenging for sure. You play USF, then you go to Rice, and the final stretch is a home game against Tulane, a road game to ECU, and a home game against Navy. 4 of your 5 toughest games are at home. That is one nice thing about Memphis' schedule, is that teams have to come to them. They don't have to travel. The ECU game obviously will be tough, but the home games will be challenging. It'll just be nice to play in front of their home fans. And when Memphis is playing really well, that home field advantage is such a big bonus for them. They have the ability to play in an incredible environment, and that helps build momentum. So this is a team that has everything in front of them. This is a team that clearly said, we are not going to wait for the future. We are going to compete now, and we are going to try to win now. The big thing is that they're going to have to take that step somehow. I don't know if they have the right personnel to do it yet, but we're going to find out quickly. And Ryan Silverfield has done a lot of good things, but I do think that the next step is to get to the top of this conference. You bring in the talent, you have certain players that are young and ready to go. You kind of have to build off of that. You kind of have to replace some of that talent that you're really going to miss. But in this day and age, you can't afford to feel sorry for yourself. You have to find a way to win, and there's a lot of pressure to do that. There's a lot of expectations, and there's a lot of talent that's going to be pushing them. Fortunately, they have time to get things sorted out to make a run. The Arkansas game almost doesn't really matter because it doesn't affect the conference race. You obviously want to play well and potentially win that game, but you just have to play well enough to build confidence within your team. And we saw that last year when they beat Florida State. And when you look at what they can do in 2025, you have a lot of exciting things early in the season that can help you win those tough games later in the year. Can they win that? I don't really know yet. We're going to find out pretty quick if they can. And Ryan Silverfield has a good track record of winning. So if you put that all together and you identified the right talent coming in, then Memphis feels like they have a good chance to achieve that goal this year.